Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining me for part 3 of my series on MERP character creation and filling out the spreadsheet. Before we get started, I just kind of want to touch on a couple of things that I spotted in the book that you may be interested in reading. Right up top here, it's going to tell you how you may not choose to play an elf if you didn't assign one of your highest stats to presence, blah, 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 to give you a little list of different race choices. It will also mention your restrictions on culture and race depending on the game master and what kind of campaign he is playing. It's not too. I don't want some people to turn this into some kind of a racial thing. No social justice warriors in Middle Earth. You, if your game master wants you to play specific races, it's because he's running a certain type of campaign. For example, I normally won't let you play orcs or trolls for sure. And if you play one of the races that are typically known as servants of the enemy, you would probably need a pretty good background for that. That being said, we will move on to, and it tells you a little bit about appearance and some of your demeanor options. There's a this little table right here, race and culture table. If anyone having a super duper hard time, or you just like to do things randomly, and there are people that like to do things randomly, you could roll on this little chart right here, this table, and if you wanted to roll to see what race you were going to be, if you rolled 26 to 275, you would then roll again over here to see which race you would actually be. Again, um, the game master might have to have you re-roll if, for example, you rolled an Easterling or a Harridan, or like these fellas down here at the bottom are typically considered servants of the enemy. So in that case, the game master may wish to have you re-roll a second time for one of those races or cultures. There are examples in the book to help you do what I'm helping you do in these videos, give you ideas on how to fill things out. These are the special racial modifications. They're all built into the spreadsheet, so you don't have to worry about adding these on the spreadsheet. If you are filling out a PDF file or a paper copy and you're having difficulties, don't be afraid to put a comment in the comment section. If like not everyone has Excel and not everyone's going to be able to access the spreadsheet. If anyone would like help creating a character, feel free to put a comment in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to meet someone in Discord and go through a character creation with you. I can walk you through how to fill out your sheet as you're going. Choosing a profession, again, a little something here on the prime stat. Realm and PowerPoints, we'll kind of get into that a little bit more as we're creating a character. Professions. This little table here tells you how many points per level that you get depending on what your profession is. I think in the last video I probably maybe said something along the lines of the bard getting 1 point per level and everything. Pretty much that's kind of how that goes. So I think I took him up to like a level 30, and you could see all those numbers change over in the one little section. So these are all built into the spreadsheet. If you are filling out a PDF copy or something on a piece of paper, each time you level up, you're going to want to increase these profession bonuses. Now, here's I mentioned in the first video probably about repetition. I'm pretty sure, I think it might have had something like this on a previous page, but this is going to tell you what your prime stat is for each profession. It'll tell you your profession bonuses, which is the same thing that we just saw on the table on the previous page. Spell restrictions. If a warrior by chance learns a spell, he may only cast first, second, or third level. Animus and rangers, Animus and mages won't have any spell restrictions as far as levels. Um, Animus is going to be in the channeling realm, Rangers in the channeling realm, Mage is in the essence realm, Bard is in the essence realm, the Scout and the Warrior have the choice. And then if you want to know about the optional professions, they're in the back of the book. 214 and 215 is where the optional professions start. So it'll give you their information as well, and a little paragraph about everything. So kind of give you an idea. Now, the Animus may not wear any metal armor, metal helm, metal greaves while casting spells. This applies to all characters casting spells of the channeling. And it's going to tell you something similar for the mage. A mage may not wear any armor, helm, or greaves when casting spells. This applies to all characters casting spells of the essence. That includes the bard, includes warrior or scout or any other profession that has the essence realm as their magic realm. Background and role traits. This is I mentioned in the first video about taking some time to pick out to read over your racial descriptions and pick out your race, your profession, and your background options. This is what I'm talking about as far as the background options, and I'm going to go over this section as we go out, or as we go over the spreadsheet. So you don't have to worry about me kind of skipping over this right now, but this is something that before you come to a game master to roll up a character, assuming that game master is someone like me and is going to allow you to choose your own, you're going to want to spend some time looking at this list. And like I said, I am actually going to take 2 parts to go over the backgrounds, because each time I've tried to do these videos, it's taken me 2 parts to get through the background options. This is probably my 4th or 5th attempt at doing this series. I try to get a little bit of sleep so I don't look like complete, like a total train wreck. But I still got my box like really, really little. That's why, because I haven't been sleeping much. My voice is not what it normally is because I've been doing this over and over and over for a week until I can try to get videos that I think are going to be good enough to upload. So I've gone over this several times now, and I'm pretty sure it's going to take me 2 parts to get through the background options. This is kind of more or less on how you want to write up a background for your character. Some game masters are really, really particular about writing up a background for your character. I think it's a good idea. It just really adds flavor to the game, what you're doing, gives the game master ideas, what he can do to try to incorporate your background into the story. So that really makes it fun and interesting. If any of you have ever watched Critical Role, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. How various characters have their own little backgrounds, and Matt tries to kind of work those backgrounds in whenever he can and make it part of the general story. So it's a good idea to try to come up with some small little story about where your character's from, what brought your character to where he or she is at the current moment in his or her life. So, like I said, here again, you have some repetition, your personality trait list, motivation, maybe possibly the 3rd place in the book. I'm not totally sure. Definitely the 2nd time. There's a lot of repetition in the book. And this is where we're going to go right away. We're going to go to the Adolescence skill development. Now, I don't really need to show you on this page here because we're going to show you on my spreadsheet. I basically created a spreadsheet that will take the place of the original MERP character sheet, and it'll do all the math, it'll do all the calculations for you. It has almost every single thing that I can incorporate into that. Well, it does have everything I can incorporate into it. There is very little that you're ever going to have to figure out for yourself. Basically, what we're going to do, we're creating a Sylvan elf. So if you're at home doing your own thing and you want to follow along here, try to create your own character, you're going to find your race over here, and you are going to go down, and if you're doing a spreadsheet, we'll do it together. If you're doing like a paper copy or a PDF file of something, maybe do like check marks or whatever. Um, but you'll go down, and for each thing that you have in any particular skill, like you'll put 3 check marks in the boxes, kind of like what you see up here. You have like X's, an X here, an X here, an X here, one there, one there. Now you got 3 down here. So this is what we're going to be working on right now. Let me just bring up my character sheet. All right. So in order to do this, we are going to go over and click on this skills tab here. All right. This is where you're going to do all your skill development. And by the way, I did a little modification to my stat point per level increase. And I made the chart I expanded it instead of like 2, 4, 6, 8, A, B, C, D, E. I kind of made it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I kind of spread it into smaller little increments. Instead of every 50 points, you get so many points. I went every 25 points, you get so many points. So it's it's a more, I don't know, it's a more compact range for the total value of your stats. So this fellow initially would have been, or this girl would have initially had 2 stat points per level the way that I had it set up, and she could have still landed in the 2 range, but she ended up, because I went from I think 500 to 550, I changed that and made it. I split it into 2 sections and made it 500 to 524 and then 525 to 549. So she actually fell in the range of getting 3 points per level instead of 2. Not that big of a deal, and it's something that I only, I may be the only person in the world that does that, but I kind of doubt it because every time I think I'm the guy that thought of something, I find out it's already out there. So I'm sure that someone else has probably thought of doing some similar type of stat increase system. There's another way you can do stat increases. I think I read somewhere, or maybe it was oh yeah, I read it. I read it in my house rules. I probably got it from one of the fellas last year. Um, One idea was that you would be allowed to transfer your skill development points to increase stats, which isn't a bad idea. For example, if you have a development point for language and you don't have any other place to put it, or you have something left over, you got no place to put it, you say, can I put it into one of my, can I put it into my strength stat and bring my strength stat up by 1 point? So you could do something like that. But that's one of my house rules, and I have a long way to go with my house rules document. My primary goal right now, my big focus has been the spreadsheet for a long time, and now I'm focusing on the videos. After I'm done with the videos, I want to focus on the house rules document because I really don't want to start any campaigns that I'm running unless I have a house rules document that I can let everyone read that's going to be in my games, so that if there's anyone that is familiar with the system already, they understand which rules I'm going to be following. And for all the new people, it probably usually isn't going to be that big of a deal. But even if you're new, at some point in time, you're going to want to follow along with the books and kind of get an idea what you're really doing instead of just trusting me all the time to know what I'm doing. Um, and you might find something that I do that might be just a little bit different from what's in the book. And in which case, I would like to at least have it set in a document stating that I'm doing this or that different. And a lot of what I'm going to do in the future is going to be basically the changes that I make from the rule book are going to be my effort to eliminate a lot of the minutia of all the rules and everything that detracts from the actual role playing and the flow of the game. Because in MERP there can be a lot of things that slow the game down, and I want to try to eliminate a lot of those things. Anyway, let's pop over to our skills tab, and you're going to find all your skills. First thing I want you to notice is way over here in the A column, it's going to say use ones for all of these boxes. Now, if you're doing a PDF or a paper copy, just do check marks. You don't need to do ones. The reason you're going to do ones in here is because it's formulated to calculate and put whatever you put in here, it's going to total up over here. The only place you're not going to put ones is going to be body development, which is your hit points. You're actually going to roll for your hit points. And we'll get to that when we get to it. But I'm going to use the hard copy book so that I don't have to bop back and forth on the screen and mess anyone up with what we're doing. So we have a Sylvan Elf. Basically what we're doing here is we are going to assign, we're not assigning, they are already assigned, and you cannot deviate from the chart that I showed you earlier. Whatever that adolescent skill rank table tells you your character, your race gets, that's exactly what you get. You put those exactly in whatever boxes it tells you to put. And basically what that means is these are the things that you learn as a child growing up in your home or growing up in the neighborhood, growing up in your culture. These are the things that you just naturally are going to excel at. For the Sylvan Elf, we are going to get 1 point and no armor. So you just put a 1 in there, and you will notice that immediately this changed from a minus 25 to a plus 5. I do highly recommend that any opportunity you have to put at least 1 rank in any skill category or any skill, that you do it, because the first point you put in any skill is basically worth 30 points. After that, what you do. But I would rather have that extra 25 points, because you get 1 point. I mean, you get for almost all of your skills, you're going to get 5 points for every rank. Like you see up here, it kind of breaks it down for you. You're going to get 5 points for every rank you put in here, 2 points for every rank you put in here, and 1 point for every rank you put in here. You are going to want to go from left to right, and the only exceptions to the 5 point per rank rule is body development, which you're going to roll for. It can be anywhere from 1 to 10, and actually it could be anywhere from 1 to 13, or it could be more if you, depending on if you, there's a background option which allows you to increase your hit points for each roll that you make, but we'll get into that later. Typically you're not going to take resistance to pain, therefore you're normally going to put 1 to 10 in your body development ranks. And then there's also a skill called ambush, where it's only going to be, you're going to put ones in, but the bonuses are going to end up being 1 point for each rank. And that's a totally different type of skill, and we'll get into that at some point. Maybe not in these videos. I may just do a small little video on ambush. Maybe I'll put something in. Maybe I'll make that part of a combat series that I do. So anyway, we get 1 in one hand edged. Oh, I forgot. I am making this this character. I wanted to do my dual weapon wielder character sheet for the purpose of the video. I have a standard character sheet and a dual weapon wielder. So I forgot that I was going to make this a dual weapon wielder initially. So we will make this a dual weapon wielder, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on all the rules for dual weapon wielding. I will make a separate video for my house rules on dual weapon wielding, which I try to basically base those house rules off of everything I've read in the Rollmaster source material and things that I read. Like I Googled a lot of information on dual weapon wielding and how other game masters in other systems handle it. So I kind of compiled a bunch of information and came up with a set of, I think I'm still working on it actually, but I will have a set of dual weapon wielding rules so that that'll help people understand what they're doing. But for the purposes of character creation, um, I actually will. I'm going to assume for the most part, unless I get that one oddball out there that wants to wield two different weapon categories, and that's going to kind of not necessarily screw me up, but it'll take away the bonus point that I give him. And I will tell you, when you're going to do a dual weapon wielding character, you also need to develop the two weapon combo skill as well, or you will never be able to use that weapon combination for multiple attacks. This must always be, well, this is like a cap. So whatever this bonus ends up being for the TWC skill, that is the maximum amount of offensive bonus you can apply to a two weapon combo. Um, Whatever your two weapons are that you choose for your left hand and your right hand, that is the only combination that you are learning. If you want to, if you want another combination, you're going to have to develop that as you level up, which I don't recommend. You are going to waste an unbelievable amount of points if you try to do multiple combinations. And I will tell you, a broadsword or a short sword in one hand and a dagger in another, like you got a short sword in the right and a dagger, so I call that a short sword dagger combo. If you swap hands and you have a dagger short sword, it's a totally different combo. Not saying that anybody would want to do that, but whatever you train with in your right hand and whatever you train with in your left, those are what you're going to be using. You will have a serious penalty if you use any other weapon in either hand other than the weapon that that hand is trained to use. Now, assuming that both weapons that you use are going to be in the same weapon category, then I actually allow you to have a bonus point. I actually let you have the point in both skills. So, for example, the Sylvan Elf gets one in one hand edged. We are going to use one hand edge weapon in both hands. So I give him one in both. Typically, your character sheet is going to say one hand edge, one hand concussion, and two hand weapons. We'll see that when I do my 30-minute or less character creation, because I want to use a standard sheet for that. But this would normally just be one here and then nothing here and nothing here. But this is a completely different setup because we're doing a dual weapon wielder. So I am going to allow that extra point as long as you are using the same weapon category. If you tell me that you want to do a short sword in one hand and a mace in the other hand, you're not going to get that point because the elves, the elves, period, they don't get points in concussion weapons for adolescents. So this guy's going to be using two one hand edge. So she is going to get one in each. She also gets three in missile weapons. Like I said, you start from the left and work your way right, and you don't put a 3 in there. You want to fill out each one of these blocks. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, and 3 for climb, ride, and swim. So 2, 1, and 3. Ambush is 0, 4 for stalk and hide. And 1 for read runes. 3 for perception, and 1 for body development. Let's bop over to what is that? Oh, there we go. Let's bop over here and do a quick D10 roll for our hit points. A 5. Yeah. So the body development is going to be a 5. The Sylvan Elf has a 20% chance of learning a spell list. So let me, come on, get back there. We'll roll a D100 for this. We have to roll a 20 or less in order to get the spell, and we didn't, so no free spell. We get 6 additional language ranks and 4 background options. So in your racial description, it is going to tell you what are the typical languages that you would learn in addition to the languages that you automatically know. Well, you're learning these languages, but there are additional language ranks that you would pick up in your adolescence. So we have 6, and for the Sylvan, if I'm not mistaken, it's Adonaic, Atlantic, Logothic, and Nahidic, if I'm not mistaken. I will verify that. All right. I could be wrong. Languages. Sylvan elves also have the opportunity to learn Adonaic, Atlantic, Logothic, and Nahidic. It tells you what ranks they typically learn those two. I'm not real strict about that anyway, but in your adolescence, I mean, you whatever points you have, typically what I will usually do is put 1 point in each of the additional languages that I would normally learn. That way, as I'm learning languages in the future, as I level up, I know which ones I try. For me, I try to kind of keep it realistic. Like, to be honest with you, to learn Black speech or Orcish would be a little unrealistic for a low level character. Or to maybe say learn Haradaic, and like if you're all the way up in northern Mirkwood and you're going to tell me you want to learn Haradaic, which is pretty far south, way south, it would be kind of abnormal. So typically, I go with those. And I actually did allow people to do languages recently that probably I shouldn't have allowed, but I'm not real strict with some things. So anyway, we have 6 points. I am going to put 1 in Adonaic, 1 in Atlantic, 1 in Nahidic, and 1 in I missed one, Logothic, and I have 2 left. So I would probably just take the Quenya and bring that up to 4. 5 is the max. Now, generally, as you're leveling up, generally you're going to learn 1 language at a time. So the idea here now, the way I have this set up is I am going to, as I level up, I am going to complete maybe say Westron or Quenya and then work on one of these other languages, 1 language at a time. If you end up where you have all 5s, then you're going to pick the next language you want to work on, and that's the language that you're going to stick with until you get it to a rank 5. But I don't want to overcomplicate the whole language thing. Let's see where we're at. 28 minutes. Well, the next sections are going to be on, the next parts are going to be on the background options. But I have a little bit of time here. Maybe one I will kind of say one thing that I like to do is allow you secondary points for your character creation. I allow you 7 free secondary points, and I also allow you 7 more points for your adolescence development. Right now, for your adolescence, and then also 7 for your apprenticeship. We will get to apprenticeship later. My initial idea when I got this idea from someone else was to allow people to use those secondary points each time they level up. I can't swear in this video that that is what I'm going to do. I may allow you to do the 7 and 7 for character creation, and then after that, if you're playing for me, as you level up, I may require you to do where you have to transfer primary development points if you want to increase those skills in your secondary categories. I can't swear to that. I have to think about it. I'm kind of split down the middle. Maybe I might do something like instead of giving you 7, I might just give you a couple. 7 maybe might be too many to give someone every single time they level up. I don't know. I got to think about it. But for starting out, when we are creating a character, you're definitely going to get 7 for adolescence and 7 for apprenticeship. That is not something in the book. The book will have you, telling you, it's an unforgiving system. The book will have you use your primary skill development points in order to develop any secondary skills. So, uh, by the book, you're going to be pretty strapped with what you are able to do in this game. Um, Another reason why a lot of us game masters would rather you have higher stat values. Um, but anyway, let me just kind of real quick, bang, bang, bang. I'm going to pick 7 secondary skills. Now, these martial arts skills, they're consider those to be primary skills. If you want to develop martial arts, that is a completely different animal. I will be doing at some point another video on martial arts to try to cover how that works. Same with the shape change. And actually, only one race can even be a shape changer anyway. So if you're not going to be a Bjorning, you're not going to be a shape changer. And not all Bjornings shape change anyway. I'm just going to bop down here and grab 7 quick secondary skills. We're definitely going to do appraisal. And I'm not going to like explain them. If you want to know more about the secondary skills, look on page 212 and 213. So we'll do appraisal. We will do cookery for sure, first aid, foraging. That's 4. As an elf, you want to do meditation. Well, mention meditation really quick. It is important. I mentioned earlier how elves do not sleep. They meditate for 1 to 3 hours per day. If they are meditating and all of a sudden you are overrun by a raiding party or whatever, the only way that elf is coming out of the meditation is if somebody goes into the meditative state and wakes them from their meditation. Otherwise, that elf is subject to being slaughtered in the meditative state. So, in order to be able to do a successful meditation to go in and pull someone out, you need to also roll on the meditation skill. That's what the meditation is all about. So, I highly recommend the meditation secondary skill for any character that is an elf or half elf. I'm pretty sure half elves trance also. Here, let me check. Half elves. I could be wrong about that. Doesn't say anything about trancing. They have the vision and probably the hearing. I do not see anything about half elves. Oh, here. They only need 4 hours of rest a day. Sleep for mortals or meditation for immortals. And typically, I think if a human being, one of us, like the player, wants to play an elf, I think because we are mortal beings, we're probably more inclined to play um, an immortal half elf if we were going to be a half elf. Otherwise, I don't know. I could be wrong, but so yes, an immortal half elf would actually meditate as well, and it just makes sense. That's one of the reasons why I like playing elves myself. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rope mastery, maybe. Why not just do rope mastery? Signaling, skywatch, and trickery. I'll put trickery too. So that's my 7. Quick and easy. Like when I do my apprenticeship, I'll probably pick 7 different ones. Like I said earlier, any chance you get to put at least one single point or one single development point into a rank, it gives you that first 30 points to go from a negative 25 to a positive 5, and it's definitely worth it for anything that you may end up using. And a good game master will find a way to test you in everything to try to try. Actually, I feel like a good game master is going to try to allow you to use your strengths, but he will also try to exploit your weaknesses to a point, just to try, like, for example, if you're a dwarf and you have a negative 50 for swimming, and there are a lot of people that are play dwarves and they won't put a single point in swimming because they're like, you know, dwarves don't like the water, but you never know what the game master is going to do to you. And as a game master, I would probably try at some point to get that dwarf in water and make them regret not putting a point in swimming. Not to be mean or anything, but maybe say, hey, maybe next time I better develop that swimming skill so I can do better in the water. It doesn't hurt. But, that's the secondary skills. That's 35 minutes. I'm going to bounce on this video, and I will see you in the next two. The next two videos are going to be like A and B. Like I think this is part 3 that I'm on now. So it'll be 4A and 4B, which is kind of where I was when I did these before, and they will be primarily going over the secondary skill, not the secondary skills, the background options. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope I'm not too terribly boring. I'm trying not to be. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks again. Try that again.